We'd be ready to, whoa. We'd be ready to go as soon as my mic is turned down and the TV goes on. Wow. So, that is really a loud mic, but it's good. It's like some kind of rock concert or something.
Rock on.
All right. I call to order this meeting of the Maplewood City Council. This is a council manager workshop for Monday, August 22nd, 2011. And the roll can reflect that all council members are present. And then we have an agenda which is all under new business and has continuing budget presentations. We have one from Parks and Recreation and one from Public Works. Is there any changes or additions needed to this agenda?
Second.
Mr. Lanas has moved approval. Mr. Nephew has seconded. So this would be for the agenda we have before us. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Passes ayes all. So we'll move right down to it then. And so the first one on the agenda is Parks and Recreation. Mr. Kaneko, you have a presentation for us.
I do indeed, Mayor, Council. Good evening and thank you. I have the proposal or the presentation this evening, as was included as part of your packet, as well as broken down into three components for the parks. It starts with the MCC. We'll have a few slides on that. Then we'll work into the recreation budget, and then we'll finish with the park and natural resources. So there's actually three components that comprise the parks and recreation budget. So with that, Mayor and Council, may I have the overhead, please? Thank you. Here's an org chart of the Park and Recreation Department, which was also included as part of your packet there. There are no changes set for that, other than what was indicated in your memo with the park manager position there, and we're in the process of looking at that as we speak. Just a few slides on the MCC budget highlights here. The proposed 2012 budget for the MCC is a little over $2.3 million, and that represents a decrease of a little less than $100,000 over 2011, which had an approved budget of approximately $2.4. The revenue for 2012 is projected to be $2.76 million. The reestimate for 2011, and Gail can correct me if I'm wrong, was a little over $2 million. So the $76,000 represents about a 4% increase in revenue over 2011. The operating loss for 2011 is expected to be right around $325,000. In the budget that's in front of you today, we're anticipating an operating loss going through the end of 2012 of a little over $225,000. This represents a decrease of 30% year over year. So recall, Council, in April we had a meeting about the 5-year sustainability plan, and we need the Council directed staff to get to that 150 to 165 operating loss, and this puts us well ahead of that curve there, and I've got a slide that talks about that as well. The last bullet point on that memo was this has the net effect of moving the 5-year budget plan to 4 years to achieve that sustainability of an operating loss, again, in the range of 150 to 165 at the end of the 4 to 5 years. There's also a table there, and then on the bottom you can see where we were from 2009. We had an operating loss of roughly $350,000.
When you talk about the projected loss, are you also factoring in projected future expenses that we're anticipating?
Mayor, Council, correct. Yeah, the operating loss is everything but the depreciation. So the depreciation is not factored into that number, but that includes the revenue and then the expenditures. And then on top of that, of course, would come the depreciation, but that number does not include that. So that would include all expenses and all revenue. So in essence, we're projecting, Council, at the end of December next year, that we're going to lose roughly $225,000. Now that's down from this year, where we're projected to be about $3.25. So we're projecting our operating loss to decrease on the order of about $100,000 year over year.
What was what year did we have our highest loss then? Did we peak at one point, now it's come down?
Mayor, Council, unless Gil can answer that, I don't know the answer to that. It was right around $350,000 to $400,000, if I'm correct. That did not include the depreciation, though, so I'm not sure what that number ended up to be.
It's in the packet
423.
on page 2, 423 for 2010 actual.
There you go. All right. Again, the table there, you can see the bottom line on that table is the projected operating loss, and you can see as we go out through 2012, that number gets reduced to $225,000. As Councilmember Nephew pointed out, we had an operating loss, actual operating loss in 2010 of $423,000. In 2009, it was $347,000. We're looking at about $350,000 in 2011, and we're projecting about $225,000 in 2012. Here's the operating loss table that staff spent some time with council on in April. And again, this was part of that 5-year sustainability plan. So if you look on the chart here too, for 2012, we were anticipating an operating loss of $285,000, which represented a 13% decrease over the 3.25 for 2011. So our goal, again, if you drop down, is to get to that 150 to 165, and you can see in 2012 we're looking at 225. So we're actually ahead of the curve, and we're ahead of 2013 as well. So we are jumping ahead, and that 5-year plan may yet become a 4-year plan. And I know council had some concerns about that, and I can just assure you that staff is working real hard to see what we can do to get that level down to that 150 to 165 range. Included as part of that, in that April discussion, staff did bring an action plan to you, which focused on the increased family focus, continuous senior programming, increased banquet activities, increased theater activities, and we're also going to take a shot at increasing our fitness as well. And all that information is included in your packet and was presented to council at our meeting in April. With that, I'm going to move on to the recreation budget. The proposed 2012 rec budget comes in at $747,000, which represents an increase of approximately $70,000 or 10.4% over the 2011 budget. And the reasons for that, council, are we've got a $28,000 expenditure for the Maplewood, our Park and Rec brochure. We've got 15% of the marketing manager salary included in that, and that's new. And we've got increases to personnel service as well. And those make up the bulk of that increase in $70K for the rec department. Program fees will likely increase approximately 5% across the board for our rec programs that we offer. And staff is going to, in addition to that, start looking at all of our programs we offer and essentially vet them to see what their participation levels are. And if we feel we have to make changes or eliminate some of the programs, I've got a list of 4 of them there that might be likely targets as we move forward. The whole rec program, the expenses are in fact, Ramsey County and the City of St. Paul are looking at drastically reducing their rec programming as well. And we too are confronted with some of the same issues, and I'll talk to that when we get into parks as well. But these are some programs that if we do need to cut, that likely will be on the chopping block for 2012 and possibly 2013. Again, the Recreational Joint Powers Agreement, we've talked about this. That's been very successful. We should have revenue approaching about $125,000 for this year. we think we can do better going ahead next year, so we've set our sights on about 140, and that includes everything from our revenue from the JPA. It also includes revenue from our softball program and all the other programs that we offer at the North St. Paul Community Center. So we are looking at increasing our revenue next year. Looks like we're going to bring in about $125,000 this year in total from our joint powers agreement with North St. Paul. And you can see the table here. If you go down again to the bottom line, our budget is a little under $750,000, and you can see where that was in comparison year over year of some of the previous years as well. Our park and open space or natural resource budget did come in under the 2012 guideline amount, and that amount was set at $445,000. And this budget includes the following programs: the park admin budget, the nature center, the open space management, the ice arena operations, the tree preservation fund, as well as the nature center. This represents a decrease of about $50,000 or approximately 10% over the 2011 budget that was approved at a little under $500,000. As I had mentioned to council, staff is in the process of hiring a park manager, and this will be an internal promo only. And once this occurs, the department org chart will be amended to reflect this. And one of the big areas that staff is going to focus on in 2012 is the creation of a nonprofit org aimed at enhancing opportunities for all people to enjoy Maplewood's parks and open spaces. So on the last slide there, that's it's a goal that I've set up. I've talked with our city manager, Mr. Anthony, as well, and he supports this. We're going to set up a citizens board that's comprised of clubs, businesses, and park commission members. And the primary objective of this group is to raise funds to assist the city in updating and enhancing existing park amenities. And in 2012, staff will establish a board of directors that will serve and lead this nonprofit group. This group will work directly with the City Council and the Park Commission to carry out its mission. And that's something that staff is working on as we speak. The whole park and rec thing the whole landscape has changed. And if we're going to do work on our parks, staff is going to have to reach out and see if we can't get some additional support funding to help offset some of the costs that the council has, is required to, if you would, pay into these projects for improvements. And again, there's two pots of money. There's the PAC fees, which can be used for new parks and or the revamping of existing parks, and that was used for Lions. We'll use that funding source for Goodrich as well. And then there's money where we can use just the general upkeep or maintenance, and that's out of the